Worst thing ever.
All right, ready? At this time, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Stokes County Commissioners, Monday, August 23rd, 2021 at 2. And we'll ask Commissioner Morris to do our invocation, please.
Let's pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings you've given us. We thank you for allowing us to serve the people here, and we ask your strength, wisdom, and guidance as we do that. We especially ask you bless the folks in Afghanistan and all the turmoil that they are going through. These things, God, we ask in your gracious name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Are there any additions to the agenda, Shannon? Any changes or additions? Then I need a motion to.
Motion to approve the agenda as is.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. None opposed? All right. And now is public comments. Do we have anybody signed up to speak? Okay, then I'm going to close the floor for public comments, and I'll open the floor for comments from the commissioners and the manager, and I'll start with Commissioner Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Chair Lady.
I'm fine with whatever pronouns you want to use.
Madam Chair Lady. It probably sounds even better. Just like to welcome everybody that's here and hopefully some folks watching online today as we do the county's business. One thing I'll mention, I got a call from PTRC, the Piedmont Triad Regional Council that I represent the county on, last week, and they are working, or they're going to be working with the health department and I guess the hospital, other agencies to set up or help facilitate, I guess, another one or two drive-through vaccination clinic type things. So the way I understood it, there's some organizations that have money that are trying to do that, and they're working. I guess they start with the county with the lowest vaccination rate first. I think we're the lowest in the PTRC's region, but then there's others that are close to the same as us. So they'll be working with all these counties. But just an effort to make it very easy for somebody to get the vaccine if they want to. So that'll be happening, and Shannon, I don't know if they've talked to you about that or.
I've gotten some emails from them too.
Yeah, they will be, so whatever. That's all I have,
All right.
Madam Chairman. Chair Lady.
All right. Commissioner Barney Castle.
Thank you. It's great to see everybody. Great to see everybody just watching online, and hope everybody has a wonderful week.
Commissioner Mendenhall.
Thank you. And I also want to say thank you to everybody that's here today. Appreciate you coming out. I know most of you here on business, but that's fine. That's part of the governmental process. And for everybody that's watching us live stream today, thank you for taking some time out of your day to watch us today. And just wish each and every person a good Monday. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. And we would like to just remember the Nicholstons who have had COVID, and our Chairman Nicholson, who's homesick today, and his family, as well as other people in our community that are battling that and affected by it. I know many that are. I'd also like to take a minute to say, to remember the counties and the mountains in our prayers. A lot of people affected by the flooding in Tennessee and Haywood County, and a lot going on there, and we just need to pray for those people, as well as was mentioned about Afghanistan and everything that's going on over there. Our hearts go out to those people as well. So that's all I have. Shannon? Yep. Go ahead.
Welcome to everybody here. Out here in the crowd, our new emergency communications director. I think he prefers Matt. Yes. Is that right? Matt Boyle, so you'll officially approve his appointment later in your meeting, but he is here at the meeting today. We're glad to have him here, and he comes to us from Forsyth County. So, and to just keep in your thoughts and prayers our school system as we go back to school today for the first day. the teachers, the students, our administrative staff, the superintendent's office, board members, as they have a lot of tough days coming up, I think, with trying to meet all the COVID restrictions, and hopefully we'll be able to have a good school year and the kids can get some normalcy back. I hope for that, and just remember them and be patient with them as a county as they make some tough decisions, I think, moving forward. So, and that's all I've got today.
All right. If there's nothing else on the comments, I'll move to the consent agenda. It says the minutes, the budget amendments, and the lottery fund application. Are there any questions about any of that?
Just want to clarify one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Julie, on that budget amendment number 12, with the fire service district, that's talking about taking money out of the service district's fund balance,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to clarify
They're
that.
taking a different approach with debt and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Working on a different way. They want to pay down some debt and they're going to buy this truck outright instead of getting added more debt to it.
Okay,
That is correct.
that's the only question I have.
No further discussion, I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
All right, second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move to discussion, and the first item is the tax office agenda, and we have Richard Brim who will present. Thank you.
Glad I got up here early.
I know, right?
I won't hold you up. First item, as always, is the monthly tax collection status report. On the report, if you look at the numbers for the month of July, it only shows like $251,000 for the county. But keep in mind, we mailed out bills on July 28th, so that's just a couple days. This morning, we received an electronic payment from our biggest escrow company, CoreLogic, for a little over $5.6 million. So that'll reflect on next month's report. Moving ahead to releases and refunds, releases and refunds releases less than $100. We have 26 accounts that total $553.73. Then on real and personal refunds less than $100, we have one account for $21.75. Real and personal releases less than $100, there's 5 accounts that total $1659.81. And then your real and personal refunds of more than $100, we have 11 accounts that total $3,122.99. Then we have 3 present use value late applications that I want the board to approve, and then we have 9 late applications for elderly exemption. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
All right. I don't have any. Do any other board members have
I just want to
questions?
say thank you for the good job y'all continue to do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You recommend approval for all that, didn't you?
Yeah, for all of it, because, the statute doesn't allow me to do that,
Yeah.
but the board allows the board to do that, and the board's always good to help the citizens of the county.
Yep.
You want this on action for the next meeting?
Yes, ma'am. I want the real and personal releases more than 100, real and
Okay.
personal refunds more than 100, late use value applications, and the late elderly applications. To
Consent agenda.
Yeah, for the
Stand
September
at the
13th.
next meeting. Okay, we got you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item up is animal shelter update and request, and Shannon, you can present this.
Yes, and the director, Scotty Kaiser, is here if we have any specific questions that I can't answer for you, but I've had a few meetings with Scotty lately, and I know he came to you guys a couple meetings ago and requested some different hours because he was struggling a lot with staffing issues and call volume, trying to run the animal shelter, clean it properly during all that time, and you all granted him the permission to do some different hours there, and that's been helping them a lot, but they've still been experiencing some issues with that. And since we last met, he's had an inspection from the state, which identified some of those same issues that he was having issues with. So he's requesting that he get his hours back as far as that part-time employee that he had. They were receiving more hours before the budget, and that was cut back. His initial request is for a full-time position there in the animal control shelter attendant there. That would be his primary goal, is to get that position. If the board is not seeing to do that, he would at least like to get some part-time hours back or another part-time person there to be able to help him in the shelter operations during the day, to be sure everything's clean with state guidelines, and also to answer the phone and take over all those things that were going on before. So that's really an issue for him there. And also some of the issues found in the the shelter report that you can look over with their compliance. They did pass their compliance inspection, but there are some things that need to be taken care of. The one thing she addressed was some of their medication list and things like that, which can be taken care of. They've already fixed that now, but the person in charge of that would be that attendant that they had more hours before. They were struggling with that difference in hours. The floors are an issue there that remain to be an issue. There's some quotes, there's a quote attached to the agenda, and actually Public Works Director Stuart Easter has another quote from last year if you wanted a comparison on that as far as what they've been doing. It's a little bit of an expensive project, but it needs to be done in order for us to keep in compliance with them and to keep that shelter clean from all the kennel area. And there's an issue that she noted actually found us not in compliance with the airflow. And in talking with Scotty and Stewart, that's an issue with the size of the unit over there is not large enough for that building, and it's a constant issue with the airflow there. And she did actually find them not in compliance this time. But before we make any major changes to that building, like the floor resealing or any kind of HVAC unit, we did want to come to you and speak a little bit about, I know we had talked about in the building study from Perry that building was just almost better to be torn down and redone with some of the issues that it has, and we don't want to spend a tremendous amount of money on patching some of the stuff up, but we have to do some things to keep in compliance. So we wanted some guidance from you all on where you see the future for that building, if you think we're going to actually be able to build a new building, or would you like us just to go ahead and move forward with some of those other issues. And she did also identify some issue with the water, but according to Scotty and Stewart, the water is okay, it just has a lot of iron there, and they do test it regularly. She noticed the color of that water in some of the animal bowls there, but you know, they assured me that water does pass the test and is okay. It just has a lot of iron in the water over there. But if you all would kind of maybe think about or talk about a little bit what you think about maybe the hours that he's asking for, the position, and also where you'd like to see the future of that building to go. So we'll kind of have some ideas about what kind of temporary fixes we might be able to put on some things until that time if we're going to build a new building or if we're planning to stay there.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Mendenhall.
Thank you.
I know that's a lot of information on one thing, but it's just all of it's kind of come up, and while we're talking about it, we wanted to put it all out there.
Okay. I think I've got it all down, what you said, Miss County Manager.
And I've got some information too on the cost if we did that full-time position, you know, where you'd be looking at with that too.
Okay. I've got a few questions.
Okay.
Going back, Scotty, I just want to make sure I've got everything down exactly to the T. Right now, do you have 2 full-time positions?
I have
Three.
three full-time positions running.
3 full-time?
Yes, sir.
And,
Three
and
full-time positions and a part-time position that is only allowed to work 75 hours a pay period.
okay, so you got 3 full, 1 part,
Yep, and one of the full-timers is currently being trained at this time.
okay? And has the move that we allowed y'all to make, as far as moving the time frame of your schedule back, has that helped any?
It has helped tremendously. It has helped tremendously. We're able to get the cleaning done fairly quickly. And we're still able to go out and handle some emergency stuff that we need to handle, that has come up. Last week, we actually had, or I think it was the week before last, we actually had to close 2 days to the public because it was only 2 full-time employees. And it seemed like every time we turned around, we was getting called out on something of emergency, and these days it was like 96, 98 degrees, and 2 of the animals that had to be picked up had to be rushed to the vet due to some heat stroke problems. That really put a damper on the way the facility was run for those 2 days.
Right.
And then that following Monday, the state inspector comes in, and it was okay as far as inspection goes, but she really harped on the amount of employees that was there because it was only 2 full-timers at the time. She said that the facility should be run with the minimum of 4 full-time employees. So that's when I come to Shannon and started talking to her so we could figure out what we needed to do to get the place back up in compliance with the state.
Okay, so I read over the recommendations from the inspector. And so what I'm hearing though is right now we have 3 full-time, 1 part-time, but the inspector felt like it would be benefit to have 4 full-time, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Instead of 3 full and 1 part,
Yes,
the
sir.
inspector recommended 4 full-time.
Yes, sir.
And can I ask, when Perry did his study on all the buildings, Shannon, I don't know if you have it off the top of your head, but I know he did talk about how, what kind of shape that building was in and his recommendation as far as putting up a new building. Do you have off the top of your head what Perry's estimated cost would be for
It was
that?
450 was the, 450,000 was the amount that we had put in the budget, last budget. for- yeah.
450,000.
No, I don't, that was a cost that was figured without some of the things taken into account of some of the prices of construction materials are a little higher than, how we had that come up with the EMS station. Our original quote was a lot less, but then things really skyrocketed. But some of that's starting to level out a little bit now and get a
Yes.
little better. So, but 450 was the best estimate at that time.
So at that period, when he came in, it was 450,000 to
Right.
put up a new building
Mhm.
for the animal shelter. That's all I have right now, Mr.
Okay, all right, anyone else?
I got some.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, the proposal you got here, is that the only estimates you got?
The flooring, yeah, Stuart's here too, so I think, did you get some other quotes, or was that was that the less quote of the
The
year?
one he has now is the most current proposal, but Scotty had gotten some prior, and I've got those if you want
Yeah, 'cause
to read out what they are.
Yeah, going back with my history, I like more than just one proposal in front of me.
Yeah.
That way we keep everybody on the up and up.
All right, the current proposal is for the indoor kennel and the cat room. And it was $16,318. I think that's what you.
Yes, sir.
That's the sandblasting.
Yeah, that's sandblasting, removal of what's there.
Which if you're considering a new building, might be more than you want to do. You might want something a little fixed, but not quite as much of a fix.
The previous proposal was done in February 26th of this year, 2021. And it's remove the existing sealer, prep and patch. And it's one of them was for $18,900. And the other was, let's see. This was the floor and the coves, and then the walls, which was $32,000, which was a total $50,900. And if you done the garage area, it was another $9,500 alone on it. So you're looking at about $60,000, which was the previous quotes back in February. That's to cover everything. And I had a short version done just to kind of what you have to kind of, to satisfy the state,
Correct.
which was the 16,000. That would get the indoor kennel area done. And I think that's what she's kind of been noting on the inspections that she's had.
That's mainly what she's after right now.
Yeah, right now.
Okay. Scotty, is the Kindle full this time?
We're sitting on 10 dogs right now.
What about your cats?
Cats, we're in the process of picking up quite a few. We have a lot that we're setting traps and stuff for right now. So we are in the process of picking up quite a few. We're probably about half capacity with cats right now.
Okay. The reason I asked that question, I had some citizens call me, actually some come by my house to talk to me about not coming out picking up cats and being told we were full, they couldn't take any more, blah, blah. So,
See, the problem we run into with the cats right now, we've only got 12 kennels for the entire county. And we can fill a cat kennel up within 30 minutes of 3 officers going out and picking them up. And that's where sadly a lot of the euthanasia is coming from as far as cats, because they're so overpopulated in this county, and we don't have anywhere to anything the fire department or EMS may need us to come out and pick up, to remove from the house so they can come in and do their duties. Or, law enforcement, pulling over someone, something like that. We try to keep at least 2 to 3 kennels open at all times for those type of emergencies. As far as dogs go, but with cats, we stay packed full of cats all the time.
Okay. Well, I know you go out and do the emergency call, because I've been out there when you had to show up on something to pick up dogs, so I understand that. All right, I appreciate it, thank you. That's all I'll give you.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. What's the capacity of dogs and cats? You said 12 cats, and
12 cats and 12 dogs is all we can house in the animal shelter.
and you're still doing the process of transferring them to the adoption facility in Meadows when you can?
She's able to take some. Most of the time, she's staying full, because her adoption rates have slowed down quite a bit here recently with the summer months and everything coming up. Adoption has really slowed down, for us and her. She's taking them as quickly as she can, and she's placing them with other rescues as quickly as she can, just to try to help us out to move them.
You putting them in rescues too?
Yes, we're working.
Both of you do?
Yep.
Where do they get theirs from besides you? Just people bringing them in?
Friends of the Stokes shelter does not take anything in from the general public. It comes straight through us. So
All of them do?
yeah, everything that she takes in has come straight through us.
Okay, good. My first question, or the next question is, can somebody here, Shannon or you or somebody, compare, and if not right now, but later, compare the employee staff, what it is now compared to what it was when the sheriff was running, when it was under his umbrella before this last budget?
When the sheriff was over us, we were fully staffed. We did have 4 full-time animal control officers and a part-time position. So there was 4 full-timers and 1 part-timer at that time.
Okay.
And then previously, before the shelter attendant had left, he was placed over there, and we was sitting with 5 full-timers and a part-timer. And with 5 full-timers and a part-timer, everything stayed on top as far as the cleaning, the smell, everything was fairly taken care of very quickly. And, we did have good compliance rates with the state, because everybody was able to pull their part as far as keeping the paperwork caught up, nothing getting behind as far as paperwork. We was able to manage it a whole lot more with more individuals, But with her recommended 4, with the sheriff's office taking over some of the call volume, which is your welfare checks and things like that, that's cut us down to where I believe 4 full-timers would be able to manage the facility at, the state's request.
Or and a part-time also?
I don't think that I would have to have the part-time position if we was able to go ahead with, say we're able to get the, part-time position converted to full-time. I honestly think that we should be able to stay on top of everything with 4 full-time employees.
Okay, well, I've dealt with this a lot back in my previous life here, and we always needed either 4 or 5 people. I mean, I would think, 4 and a part-time probably to make sure you're caught up and everything, but if you can do it with 4, that's fine. I won't volunteer anything you don't ask for, but, I'm sure you need 4 full-time at least to make that go. There's just too much of that kind of activity around the county. It goes on, and there's a lot of liability associated with not doing it correctly as well.
Exactly. I mean, little do some people know, the state can come in 1 minute and say you're good, and then she can come back in 2 or 3 months later, she can put a lock on the door, and ain't nobody got a job.
Oh, yeah, I know.
My understanding.
Yeah, they can do that.
She is very particular when it comes to a lot of stuff. And if everything looks good when she comes in, she'll do a white glove test. I mean, if there's any dust anywhere, any type of particles or anything, she'll write you up on that. I really want to stay on top of it to keep the compliance ratings and everything up, keep everything in compliance, so we're not on the front page of the newspaper.
Yeah, I read that report that she did, and it is a great detail that they look at. So, how did she measure the airflow management while she was there? She got a gadget or
It's
something?
the amount of odor that is in the facility.
That's what I
See,
figured.
we've got one
Okay.
big exhaust fan that, we can only run every so often, and with this exhaust fan, it pulls the smell, and it also pulls all the air conditioning
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
with this small HVAC unit that we have, it's hard for this unit to keep up with the amount of airflow that's going out of the building.
mhm,
So you're not getting rid of your smell, and you're not keeping your facility at a certain temperature.
yeah,
That's what
okay,
we've been fighting with for the last couple of years as far as temperature wise, because when this thing runs for 3 or 4 hours a day to get the smell out, it's sucking every bit of the air out. And it stays so humid in there that the floors are not dry. And that's the thing that she's complained about in the past as well, with water standing in the floor, which is the humidity that's built up in this block building, causing it all to sweat because there's not enough airflow or anything to keep it, to assist in drying it out.
okay. So just to clarify, they had a little more manpower when the sheriff was doing it, what you have now.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think we need to get that manpower back up where it was at least with what the sheriff was doing, because this is too big a deal not to. And I doubt that'll wait. That's one of those that won't wait till the next budget, I don't think. So.
They've gone from what he was saying down to pretty much 3 and almost like not even a whole full, not even a part-time. It's just 75 hours a month, which is not enough for them to
Yeah.
do what they need to do.
So how's your on-call work? How many people are doing on-call duty?
For right now, until the other full-timer gets up and trained, it's just me and one other officer switching every other week.
So when you have your third person trained, then you'll have it every 3 weeks?
Yeah, it'll be a 3-week rotation.
Okay, it needs to be at least that. That every other week don't work either.
No, it
For
doesn't. It'll
all
wear
the-
you out very quickly.
Plus, when somebody's not there, then you end up doing it one weekend after another, so.
Yep, and I've actually been on call 3 weeks straight before, and
Yep.
it's not good because you're not knowing when dispatch is gonna call you.
You had 4 full times, would they all be on call? Okay,
Except for the shelter attendant, unless, we figured out something where she could come in and say clean on Saturday or Sunday. And if you was looking at a part-time position along with the 4 full-timers, the part-time person could come in the afternoons, late or something for a couple hours, and then come Saturday and Sunday to clean. So the on-call officer's not having to go unless they've absolutely got to go to the facility.
yeah, why don't you do a little bit more thinking about this before we do anything on it, and make sure that you think 4 without the part-time's enough. I mean, do-
4 part-time could be sufficient.
Okay,
That
Right.
animal control officers or an attendant?
That would be an attendance position.
That would give you 3 full-time like you
That
have now. It
give
would
me
just be
3
making
full-time
this
officers,
animal.
and that would be 1 shelter attendant, that all she does is, as far as getting the animals posted for adoption, networking, helping maintain the shelter, answering the phone, dispatching the
Okay.
calls, and,
all righty.
the other shelter duties.
I guess the other thing the board's got to think about is that building, if we're going to keep putting money into it, or we're going to do a new one. And I guess maybe somebody should go study that, or I think the zoning would be difficult for it unless you either put it where that one is in the place of it, or maybe co-locate it with the one in Meadows. I don't guess there'd be zoning issue since you already got one there, but.
Scotty and I talked about that a little bit, and I was gonna check, once you all talked a little, I was gonna check upstairs a little and just see how big of an issue that would be. And since there is something there like it, and it would, a lot of counties have them pretty close by as far as like their shelters. If you have, like a, for instance, Stokes type shelter, they have a pretty close proximity.
Yeah, it
and
makes
that seems
sense
to
for,
work well.
or just efficiency and a
And that
lot of
would-
reasons.
That, you already have that land, so it would be
Mm-hmm.
no land to purchase, so that would be a,
Can y'all do a study, or somebody, is that what we want to do, board, do a study and figure out for the next budget about a new building?
Yeah, I don't think we'd be building it till next budget, so.
Yeah, I don't either.
um,
So I guess we have to spend this floor money then and stuff to keep it going until.
Are there any
then.
other options on the floor if they're, not really, because we're talking, even if we look at it the next budget, it's still gonna be a year or 2 out building it. And that, there's not really many other options.
Yeah, they won't leave you alone on the floor, and those prices are consistent with what I remember before.
What about the airflow thing? I mean, is there anything that we can do with that besides putting in a new?
I don't see that you can do anything. I'd put a minimum price on that, probably 20,000 if you wanted to up that, the air conditioning and ventilation.
Stuart,
It doesn't matter what size the air conditioner is if it's sucking it all out anyway, does it, or does it? I said, it really doesn't matter if you get a bigger air conditioner because you're sucking it out anyway, right? Or,
Well, I think you're undersized on.
Exactly.
Your flow, your, like your supply.
Oh, okay.
You're probably oversized on your exhaust, so you're not really cooling, you're not getting any, you're not cooling at all.
So you could match them up with a new system.
You may want to go a little bit oversized on your supply, that way
Mhm.
it'll compensate for the exhaust.
Okay.
Since you're an HVAC background, is that something, if we did something larger there, that we could possibly utilize if we did move the building and build a new building? If we bought a large enough one to move it, so it wouldn't be, it'd be like a, sort of an investment already?
Yeah, wouldn't have to buy it twice, yeah.
Yeah.
Would work.
It could be moved.
That's good to know.
Okay.
Do we want to put this,
The state did say the other day when she come in, I told her that there was discussion about a new facility in the future. I could not pinpoint when it was gonna be. She said that the facility that we have now could be used for an overflow facility if needed. So, even if the board does approve us putting the money into the facility, as far as the floor goes, we can always use the building
Oh,
for
okay.
overflow or something for an emergency situation.
Okay. Is Lindsay still the inspector? Okay. All right, that's all I have, Madam Chair.
On your inspection report, it says 24 for the capacity of cats. You said 12. Is that
You
because
can
of?
double cats up in your kennels, but if they're males and females,
Uh-huh.
you obviously can't put them together. And, you really have to see how they are with other cats, because if you start putting cats in with other cats that does not get along with each other, somebody's gonna end up.
we have a cat
passing
bite?
We hate to
Let's just say.
something like that.
Yeah.
We try to keep the number at 12, just for the simple fact of, we don't want anybody to get hurt or anything by a cat bite.
Yeah.
Or, or
What'd I
an
tell
animal
you?
be contagious and then be contagious to the other one, and then you're having a bigger problem than really what you got to start off with.
Gotcha, okay.
So what I'm hearing is that looks like we could make do with making that part-time position a full-time position. And that's something we might could go ahead and take action on today. But I think the building, as far as the floor and the, what to do with the HVAC, we might need to talk about that next meeting and just get some really solid numbers and go ahead and see if we want to, because like you said, even if we know we're going to build a new building, we're going to put it in the budget next cycle, but it's going to take a while to build the building. So some things are going to need to be done down there in the meantime to get by until we get a new building. So would it be pleasure of the board to put it on action for this meeting for make the full-time?
Personnel issue, I would go on with that if the rest of the commissioners would.
Okay, so we'll make that,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, what I would also suggest is moving the personnel issue to action today, so he'll be able to, if everybody votes in favor, to have four full-time, make up part-time a full-time. And then I think we probably need to get from Stuart the cost of the HVAC, the flooring, and bring it back to us at our next meeting, because we never know when they might show up for a surprise inspection. And we could go ahead and have that on discussion at the next meeting, and then if all the commissioners are satisfied with it, we could always move it to action from discussion.
yep,
That's true.
yep, we could. All right, well, we're going to make this item F on action today for the moving the part-time position to a full-time position. Okay,
Add another vehicle if you do that.
It shouldn't if it's an attendant, right?
No, it wouldn't be if it's an attendant.
Okay.
okay. All right. So the next item is the request for additional sanitation equipment operator position.
So I'll speak on this, and then if you have questions for Stuart, or Harry's also here.
I got one question
Oh.
back to the animal shelter.
Oh, okay, sorry.
On these floors, do we want to go with a conservative cost, or do we want to include the outdoor kennels, indoor, do we want to, consider all of it? Or you just want to do kind of what the state is saying right now?
Personally, I would just do what the state is saying right now,
Yeah, me too.
because we're still looking at the possibility of doing a new building. And I think, that's my own opinion, I don't know what the rest of the commission.
I agree with that.
As long as the inspector is happy with it, you know, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, okay. All right, moving on.
And then we're gonna put on discussion that item next time, right?
Next time it'll be back on discussion, yeah. All right, yes, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You know, so, Public Works Director Stuart Easter came to speak with me about the need for another full-time sanitation equipment operator. He had stated he had requested that to go into the budget, but it didn't make it in for whichever reason, so he's still asking for that. He gave me some information on that and sort of what's going on over there and how understaffed they are on that particular position. Julia also was kind enough, and Deborah, to pull some, at the landfill, to pull some information on their comp time hours they're receiving from that staff. And pretty much, if you look at the hours on that second page in the memo that's in here, the comp time hours that staff worked in the last fiscal year is already over the amount of just a regular full-time employee's hours. That was sort of how I was trying to look at it, from how much hours they're using. It is divided between several people, but they're not able to take most of that time off. They're working a lot of Saturdays. I know that Mr. France actually drives the truck a lot of times on Fridays. So they're really kind of working with a skeleton crew over there on that. And they're just getting busier and busier as time goes. And the truck is already there, so there's no more equipment to purchase. It's just the driver they need. And they had, one point, had 4 drivers, and I'm not sure which year that was cut, and here you might remember that. 11 or 12 that was cut out, and since that time they've been gaining comp time, you know, about that amount every time. So we just wanted to bring that to the board for their consideration, and if they have any questions for Stuart or Harry on that staff that they're requesting.
All right, questions from the board? Go ahead.
So what you're saying is the comp time is cost, I mean, it equals what a full-time position would be if you priced out the comp time.
Yeah, they're pretty much, that staff is working, just last fiscal year, they worked 1,987 hours in comp time combined. And a full-time employee's hours for a year, working an average, 150 hours a month is 1,950 hours. So they're putting in the work of another employee already, without, just between themselves. And that area just seems to get busier and busier with the green box sites and the transfer station, especially this past couple of years. They have a huge volume in and out of all those places, and they're.
So with it being comp time, they have to be paid for it, correct?
They have to be paid for it once they reach a certain number of hours. If they get 240, they accrue that, and then anything in addition to 240 that they've not been able to take off, they get paid out for each pay period.
Regular pay.
The regular pay. The issue is, a lot of times, if they stay over 240, because then they're understaffed, they can't really take the comp time off to get the number down, so the number keeps going up.
That was my question too. Are they taking comp time, taking all of it, or getting paid for part of it?
Julia can answer that better than I can. I think a lot of them have a lot in their bank still. They do take it off first, like they're required to.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some
I
payoffs,
didn't pull anything to see
how much they're being paid off.
Well, if it's equal what a full-time employee is, that's kind of what you need to know.
That was what I was trying to look at when we asked for that info. If I thought if we could, I was shocked. I thought it would, I knew what a full-time employee averages, but I was surprised to see that they were already totaling that amount.
So if we get a new employee, then, if we do a new position, then that comp time's gonna go to about 0, right?
Yeah, it should. Because if you have that other person in your rotation, I would think you'd be able to eliminate the majority of that comp time unless an
Okay.
emergency comes up or something.
That's something we ought to check probably if we
sure.
approve the position. You also mentioned something in one of the memos or something I was reading on this about, this was hurting the trucks being maintained.
That was what
That's not good.
Harry and Deborah had talked about. They're each assigned a truck, and that they're required to do certain maintenance of that truck on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the short staff, they're not able to do as much of that, and the rest of them are not able to chip in on the duties they're supposed to be done, kind of split up between them. Because you all do the maintenance as far as what Deborah had sent to me was when we asked for that. What kind of maintenance do the drivers do on their own trucks before a?
Grease, change tires, wash, just maintain what we can do,
Mhm.
basically there. Roll under them, check tires,
And if you don't do all that stuff when you're supposed to, then you got another big bill.
Right, and they're generally on the road so much, the trucks and the driver, that by the time they're in for the evening, there's not much time left to do that, except they're getting comp time to do that probably sometimes too, just to do routine things.
Can you get drivers if we approve another one? Are they available?
You think
Can you
you'd be
get
able
them?
to
Can you
hire
find them?
Yeah.
Most people I know are trying to find them and can't find them, so the businesses I know. so.
drivers? However, we have one pretty recent that's working out
Here recently, and he's working out real well.
really good,
Okay,
Brian Collins,
yeah.
he's doing a very good job.
Great job.
okay. That's all I have.
All right, anyone else?
I think the last paragraph tells it all in our memo here. Because it says, I confirmed with Finance Director Julia Edwards that during the fiscal year 2021, the full-time employees earned 1,486.62 hours of comp time, with the part-time employee working 500.50 hours. And the total of these hours is 1,987.125. But if you go to the last two sentences, I mean, this makes it pretty easy for me to go along that we need to convert this. It says a full-time employee working 150 hours per month works a total of 1,950 hours per year. And it says, the last sentence, since July 1st of 2021, which is just a little over a month ago.
Right.
We're just talking about just a little over a month ago, since July 1, 2021 through the current day, 218 hours of comp time have already been earned. That's just a little over a month, and we're already at 218 hours. You start multiplying that up for a year. I think we definitely need to move on this.
Well, they have a hard job, and they're definitely being overworked. I mean, that would be a,
And that's why I say I think we need to move on this.
Okay.
That's
Do we
my
wanna-
opinion, Mrs. Chair.
All right, we want to move this to action for today or next meeting? What do you think? County
Well, I
Manager?
think every
mean,
time
the
we
sooner-
go 2 more weeks, we're just adding more
Yeah,
content
I
to
mean,
it.
we gotta
That's
post,
true.
we have to post the job, hire the job, I mean, an interview, you're talking even best case scenario, at the shortest time, a month or longer getting somebody in.
Yeah,
so-
I'm good with that. I ain't gonna
Alright.
change my opinion.
Okay, we'll make this item G on action, and it's the sanitation employee. Okay, all right, we got it, moving on.
Okay.
The Forsyth Tech Community College's Stokes campus request.
That one.
Is that you, Shannon?
Yeah,
Okay.
and Stuart and I met about this one as well, and this is really just a formality. So they come to you anytime they're gonna make any kind of changes to that building. I mean, they're only making positive changes. And this actually is being done with some COVID-related money that they received, and they're wanting to do some things. The bipolar ionization that they're wanting to do and the AHU, the UV lighting, is something to help the cleanliness of those buildings, what's coming out of the ducts, things like that, just to help in the building for the kids coming back to school, clean the air better, you know, all that's expensive, but while they have the COVID funds, they'd like to do that to the building and get that done. And then there's some indoor and outdoor cameras they're wanting to put up and mount. Like I say, it's completely funded by Forsyth Tech through their COVID money, but because it's a change to that building that's owned by the county, they do need your approval to do so.
Okay. Are there any questions about this request?
I'm good with it as long as Stewart is.
I've spoken with them, and it's a good thing what they're doing.
Okay. All right, do we want that on action for next time, or does it need to be today?
I hate to keep asking you to move things, but if you can, just because that can go ahead and get them, getting
Okay.
that out there and getting it done for them, since it's not our county funds.
All right, item H on action. FTCC request. All right, no problem. That takes us to the Health Department testing shelter request.
Yeah, and so this is another thing that Stuart and Tammy and I talked about together, and they, sometime back you approved a budget amendment that Julia put in where the health department got another round of COVID funded separate from the American Rescue Act, just like last time they got separate funding. And they have checked with the state on this request about building a structure. I don't know if you know now, they test out back under that little canopy. that in the rain, wind, whatever temperature it is, somebody's standing out there doing the testing out there. And a lot of the doctor's offices and CVSs and things like that have started building little small structures outside their buildings to just handle all that traffic coming through one area. And they are requesting, and they talked to Stewart about it, about building a structure at the back of the building to handle all their testing. And they're not talking about anything tying into that building and heating it or air, just a four-sided structure that's not a canopy to do that in. But because it would be something to the building, upstairs says with planning and zoning, we just do an attachment B to their existing building. But we certainly didn't want to move forward with having Perry come out or do anything until you all approved a change to that building before we went any further with it.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions about that? Go ahead.
So you're just asking for us to do it conceptually, and then you're gonna come back with a detailed proposal?
Yeah, we just didn't want to even start the process or have Perry come out if you all weren't interested in them making that change to the building.
So we're gonna be testing forever, it looks
Yes, we
like.
are.
So is this just something we can do by consensus? We don't,
Yeah, you don't really, I mean,
Need
if
action.
you're generally okay with it, we can just go ahead and start the process and let Stewart talk with Perry, get Perry to come out, figure it up, bring you back something that you can then vote on.
all right, that sounds good.
Good with that.
We're good. All right. The next thing is request for approval of an updated South Data contract.
So this is from IT Director Diana Folk, and South Data now comes here once a month, does some kind of wellness check for us, does lots of things for IT. They have recently had some room in their schedule to update their hours and offer us a little more time, and Diana and David really feel that it would be important for us to do it. The cybersecurity has just become a major issue. They're constantly tracking and doing a great job at it. They have gotten them to commit to sending 2 specific technicians to Stokes, some senior technicians, one or the other, in the verbiage of that contract. And they updated that and sent that out to us, and then it would raise the cost a little bit. Right now, we're paying them right around $7,000 a year for that. It would raise it up to the $13,440, and then they increased their hourly rate for cybersecurity in the event that we had something to happen. They had to come up and try to get us back online or do something. They changed that hourly rate as well. And IT is also down 1 staff member right now, which they will be posting that vacancy. So there's only 2 of them over there right now. So if you were in favor of them moving forward with this, and Ty could take a look at the contract and make sure he was okay with it. Dinah just received this on Friday, so we didn't have time to get it out there to Ty, but if he could take a look at it before the next meeting and make sure he looks okay with the changes they've made to it, we can move forward with it from the lapsed salaries this year especially they would have in their department before they hire somebody else, because they already have just about in the next 2 months will be at that amount for their lapsed salaries.
All right, question from the
No,
board.
yeah, I just want to comment, in today's world, with all the cybersecurity attacks that are going on right now, just saw another one that hit the State Department in Washington this morning. And I think all the commissioners know that if we were hit with one of those and they tried to hold us ransom, that the cost would be astronomical. And we need, in my opinion, to stay on top of this. This is, to me, one of the very most important things that we're dealing with is making sure that we keep our computerized system. We have so many departments that depend on technology that we need to make sure that we keep cybersecurity at the forefront.
Yep, I agree with that.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I would agree with all those comments. This is really an important area that kills us if something happens here. So, as a risk reduction measure, we definitely need to do this. Both of our employees that are left there are both very senior people. They're probably both eligible to retire. If they're not, they're getting close. So there's going to be a transition at some point, and having a third party that knows what's going on with this system is critically important when we transition and when even before that. So I
All right.
definitely support doing it.
You want to put this on for action next time?
Yeah, because I'd like for Ty just to give it's only 3 small changes to the
Okay.
contract.
That would be good.
Let him give his memo of approval on it, and then we can.
All right, we'll look at it again on the next meeting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let him look at the contract. All right, that takes us to action. And item A on action is the Stokes County Fair American Legion request for funds. And were we looking at doing what we did last year, or?
They requested 7,000 this year, and 6,500 is what we did. So we did the budget amendment for number 16 for 7,000, if that's okay with the board, and if not, we could always change that, but.
All right.
Yep.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve budget amendment 16, which will give $7,000 from this budget amendment to the Stokes County Fair.
All right, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Surplus property, offer 6993-05-08-8022. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Request to add reoccurring agenda item to ensure no conflicts of interest. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, do you have a question? Go ahead.
Just for Rick. Commissioner Morris, would you go back over exactly, as far as this reoccurring agenda item for no conflict, can you tell me the rationale that you thought of that when you proposed that at the last meeting?
Well, yeah, primarily it's a standard business practice with most of the boards I'm on. It serves as a reminder about conflicts to the board members for whatever items are going to be on. It, I think, adds credibility to the board by having that on the agenda. And it's simply just where the chairman will request board members to affirm that they don't have a conflict or perceived conflict of interest on agenda items.
And will that go down, Rick, Commissioner Morris, will that go down as asking on each item, or,
No,
for
just the
example?
total agenda, just total
Okay,
agenda.
in other words, I know one time where I'm on the SciTech Board of Trustees, there was an item on there, and I asked our county attorney, Ty Browder, if I should recuse myself from that. And his response was, since it wasn't dealing with financial considerations, that I did not need to recuse myself. So would it be one of those type situations that if, like I know you're on several boards, and I'm on two, the partnership, Stokes Partnership for Children, and the SciTech Board. Do we as commissioners need to ask our attorney if we have any doubt on
I would think so, yeah. These conflict of interest laws are narrowly defined in the state. They're much more than, they're just really financial interest,
Right.
pretty much. And other places I've been, it went way beyond that. But I think board members would want to definitely
Well,
do a financial, and if you perceive somebody's going to think you have a conflict, I would at least mention that or clarify it with the attorney before
that's
you
what I
voted
wanted
on
to-
it.
Yeah, was the idea that sometimes an item concerning for SciTech, our attorney may say, you don't need to recuse yourself on this because, and if it's a financial situation, I think he said to me at one meeting that if it dealt with finances, I would need to ask for recusal. So I just want to
Yeah,
make sure.
I think board members should check with attorney anytime they have any suspicion that it could be
Right, and that's,
beforehand, so they can answer the question.
All right. So we have a motion and a second.
And put it before the consent agenda, I guess, is where it would go on the agenda,
Yeah.
right before consent agenda.
Right, all right. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, all right. The next item is D, Walnut Cove Senior Center Advisory Council Appointment Request. We have Lou Ann Bridle. It was presented as the nominee. So there are no other motions. Motion to close?
did we not make a motion to close at our last meeting?
We did.
Oh, we did.
You would just open the floor for any further nominations.
Okay, I'll open the floor for any further nominations.
Make a motion that we close nominations.
All right. Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
So now we have to do a motion to approve her? Or is that sufficient? All the board? All right.
You repeat her name again?
Lou Ann Bridle.
Luann Bridle.
Luann Bridle.
Bridle.
Bridle. Okay. Gotcha. That one's tricky.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay. The Emergency Communications Director recommendation, I need a motion to approve Ryan Matthew Bowles as the new Emergency Communications Director for Stokes County.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
That's a quick question on that.
Yes, go ahead.
Were there any internal candidates?
There were, Amber was on the interview panel, I was
Yeah,
not.
I
So
believe there
were there
three
one or
or-
two?
I think it was three, I believe.
Three, I think. And the
Yeah.
panel that did the interviews were Amber, Jamie from HR, a member of the Sheriff's Department, I believe Terry Dalton.
Yes.
And then you had two external people from,
Yeah, one was from, I believe, Davie, or Iredell County one. He's the 911 director there, and then Ruckin, who's the fire marshal.
Okay, and was it advertised internal, external at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
And they hired, they were in unanimous agreement, from my understanding, on Mr. Bowles as far as the position and the highest points as far as on the scale for the.
Okay, that's all I have then.
All right, then.
Then I stand by my motion to approve.
All right. Then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay. So then item F, I'll need a motion for the animal shelter to make a part-time person full-time, give them full-time hours, make them a
Well, I
full-time
think-
employee.
I think technically, you'll just be making, we don't have an animal control attendant in the
Yeah.
budget right now, and they'll have to post that position. They won't just be able to make the part-time person. They'll confirm that with HR, and I'll tell
Okay.
Scotty that, but you would technically be just approving a full-time position in their budget for an animal control attendant.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to do
Effective.
that?
All right.
Would you rather do that effective a certain date for yourself? I mean, it's gonna be when they hire the position, but, okay, so effective upon when they hire, we can add it.
They're hired. Okay. So I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to add that position.
Second.
I second it, and then clarification, that motion that Commissioner Morris and I are making, that will give them 4 full-time employees.
Please.
All right. All right. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So item G is an additional sanitation employee.
Make a motion to approve, to
All right.
add a full-time sanitation operator.
All right. I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. So item H is the Forsyth Tech's request to do some updates and work on the building at the early college.
Do I need to recuse myself, Mr. Attorney? Thank you.
Okay.
Motion.
Okay. Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right. Is that everything?
Before we adjourn, ma'am, I'd like to welcome Matt as the new director here in Stokes County. I watched him grow up through the fire system, so he's done an outstanding job over the years here in our county with the King Fire Department, as well as Forsyth County as a communicator down there. He's very well known. Proud of him. Good job,
All
buddy.
right.
Did you want to say anything?
Nothing other than I appreciate the opportunity. I'm excited. This is only day one for me. This is my first day on the job, but very excited to get started and looking forward to working with everyone and the challenges and moving forward. So, thank you again.
Good to have
We're all
you on.
used to Dale Hall's voice, so it'll take a minute to get used to you. It'll be good, though. You'll do a good job. We appreciate you, and we wish Dale well on his retirement as well. So if there's no other items, then
Make a
I'm
motion, we adjourn.
adjourned. Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right. We did. Look at there.
He coming from the school of hard knocks.